Oh, hi again, guys. This video is actually by request from one of the viewers, and as you can see on the board, he'd like to know where and how to catch pike on the Gold Coast for, say, Jewfish baits. So all I'm going to do here is just tell you guys a couple of my favourite spots where I usually catch them, and how to do it. It's not that hard, and actually at times it's quite a lot of fun. So basically, I'll trusty ruler here. Do you love any drawings? Wave break looks like a cracker. Okay, so first spot, got wave break here. You got the seaway out here, so it's east, you got the seaway, got wave break. North side of wave break, there's a big sandbar over here. Okay, you got the main channel where the boat's anchor here, there's a big sandbar here. And off to the western side of that, there's a grass bank here. And I'm pretty sure that's a red beacon there, red? Yeah, it is red. Red beacon there. Okay, so this grass bank here, so in the last 2 hours of running tide, I always go the last 2 hours, roughly the last two and a half hours running tide, so tide's nice and high. It should be nice and clean. Pike like the clean water, and they like the grass banks. So last couple of hours running tide, over the grass banks, hopefully the water's fairly clean, just trawling little hard bodies. Some guys use little tiny plastics, I mean small plastics with little curl tails and very light jig heads, but I just use hard bodies. You do cast them at times, but I mainly trawl them, and I'll give you a demo on how to trawl them and what lures I use shortly. So the first spot's there, just the western side of the sandbar, north side of Wavebreak Island, big grass bank, very good. The second spot, I get them. Once again up here, you got the seaway, you got the, this is heading north by the way, so you got north here going that. So that's the north wall of the seaway. And at the end of the wall, it goes around, and there's a big bank in here. It's called Perry's Bank. That's a big grass bank. It's it's a good flathead spot too, by the way. But that spot as well, last couple of hours running tide, if the water's clean, hopefully the water's clean, trawling little hard bodies around through there. Another great place to catch pike. Okay, even casting little plastics and stuff does work as well. Basically in the Broadwater, anywhere there's grass banks, you're probably going to find pike. If these two don't work, we actually go down to Crab Island and trawl around on the southern side of Crab in the channel there, the main channel, along the edge of the grass, and usually find a few along there if they're not here for some reason. Sometimes they're not here, but probably 95% of the time they're either on this bank or that bank or both. But at Crab Island too, anywhere there's a bit of grass, generally you'll find pike. And this strange picture down here is just offshore, especially over the winter months when we're out chasing snapper. Okay, so you've got a bit of reef down here, usual story. You got a little bait school there, a couple of fish, usual, 30 metres, 20 metres, 10 metres. But as the sun goes down, you'll see a thick line like this. It generally be red and yellow on your sounder, not blue. And that will start down deep, like near the bottom. And as it gets darker, that will actually come up. And it'll come up to around 15, 20 metres. Okay, and then under that you'll see lots of little scattered dots. That's pike. Now when you float line for snapper at night time, they drive you absolutely insane. You can barely hook them. They wreck your leader, they pinch your baits, they're a pain in the ass at night time when you're chasing snapper. But when you find big schools of them, generally down here, these fish here under them, usually are Jewfish. So when you're fishing out in the shallow reefs at night time, you see these come up here and you're getting bites in your float line. It's like little tink tink tink. Quick little burst, like they take a few inches of line and they stop. That's pike. Okay, so what we do is put a small hook on, a small bit of bait on a small rod and drop it down and catch pike offshore, and then we turn them into big baits for Jewfish, and that's how we get them on the reefs. But if the pike are around, you'll know, because you'll see this thick line of pike, like I said, to be red or yellow. It'll start down deep, and as the sun gets lower, they'll get higher. Okay, and once it's completely dark, black, they should be around 10 to 15 metres down under the boat, and then you'll just see scattered ones, and you'll see a few scattered ones on top too. It won't be just bare on top, be scattered ones on top, down low, the big chunk in the middle, and that'll be pike. So forget fishing for snapper and float lining, because you won't get through the pike. Just put small baits out, small hooks, catch pike, put them back down to the bottom for Jewfish. Okay, so that's basically just a couple of different spots. My favourite two spots, Perry's and just north side of Wavebreak. Crab Island does work well, and offshore at night time, look for this off the reef and they'll be pike. Now, oh sorry, Turn around this way. Now for the lures I use. Actually, we'll start off the easy one. So generally when I'm offshore and the pike are coming up, have a small rod with you, like just your little flathead rod, a little 2500, okay? On a light little stick. Use a fluorocarbon, roughly about 10 pound or so. That's all you're gonna need for pike. And then what I use offshore, well, most of the time I have come up with a new technique, but that's another video. But just to get you guys started and catching a few pike offshore, jig heads work well. So just a jig head, a small chunk of peely on a little rod, drop it over the side. It's a good way to find a few pike. They will wreck the leader, so after every couple of fish or so, you have to tie it on. But you don't need heaps, you only need 4 or 5 pike and you've got enough baits for the night. So jig heads work well, just on a light leader. That's for offshore, when they come up at night time. For trawling around Wave Break and Perry's Bank of South Australia and crab, my favourite lure is that. I think it's a lemon crush or lemon something. They don't make this colour anymore, it's a shame, but that's a double clutch. Once again, awesome lures, they catch everything, and pike absolutely love double clutches. I know it's a bit hard to get your head around a $30 lure for a pike, but I've had this thing for years. Look at it, it's got freaking teeth marks, stuff all over. You very rarely lose them, and that catches a lot of pike. If you're not going to spend that sort of money, just anything with a small profile, like that's just a cheap lure I'd change the hooks are a bit big, put smaller hooks on that, just a long skinny profile. Like little atomic puppy dogs and stuff work well. Like that's a little atomic in a rainbow trout colour, believe it or not. And that's caught a lot of pike. And then you got something like that. Just small lures, okay? And not deep diving, just small bibs. That's probably the deepest I'd go. That'd dive down 1 metre. Most of the water you're fishing is roughly 1 metre or shallower. So just shallow bibs. And that's a little cracker there. Look at that little bugger. That's caught a lot of pike too. Just little, tiny little lures. Gold's not bad on certain days. Anything small profile, shallow runner. But the main catch to chasing the pike around in the shallows, some guys will just throw these out. Like you're driving your boat with one hand, you got your rod out the side, they're holding the rod, and they're just driving along, and these things are just, you know, swimming along naturally, just swimming along. You're going to catch maybe the occasional pike, but it's very boring, and you're not going to catch much. The best idea, it's a bit dark, but when your rod's out the side, okay, be aggressive with it, like rip it forward, like pull it forward, rip, like twitch forward really nastily. And don't be gentle about it, be quite nasty. Get these things really darting through the water, and then once it's forward, just drop the rod back, okay? So the lure actually will go from darting around mad to stopping and falling back. That's when the pike hit it. Don't just sit there holding the rod, letting it swim, that's not gonna work. Really rip it forward, get really aggressive with it, then just drop it back quickly. And on the drop back is when the pike will hit the lure. So the lure will stop dead in the water, pike will hit it then, okay? And once you locate the pike, just do a big circle and keep circling that area. Don't drive all over the place. Once you find a couple of pike, just keep working that area because there'll be a school there. Stay with the school. And once again, you only need 4 or 5 baits. You don't want to spend too long catching them. You want 4 or 5 baits, and then you can head to the seaway or offshore or wherever your Jewfish holes are you want to go chase them. Wave break, wherever. Over the tide chains. So just get 4 or 5 quick baits, put them in your bait tank, and off you go. And offshore, you can usually catch quite a few offshore if you want. Freeze a few, I do freeze a couple off when I get them offshore for the next trip, because what I do with them, the frozen ones, is next time I go out, cut them in half, put their head half on with the guts, you know, cut through the guts so that all the smell comes out, and they're a good float lining bait for big reds. Try that one too. Anyway, hope that little spill on helps to catch a few Jewfish baits. And I was going to say see you in the next video, but hang on guys, one thing too. I'm going to do a series of videos on how-to videos. I won't tell you what they're about yet, but they're going to be how-to videos. What I'm planning on doing is doing 20 videos in 20 days, and that's going to start on August 1st. So keep an eye out for that one. I'll mention our next few videos coming up to August, but on starting August 1st, there will be 20 videos in 20 days. Just a series on how to do all sorts of things in fishing. And I hope you guys look forward to that one. See you next week. Bye.